Katy, I'm back from shopping.
Did you get the turkey?
Sort of.
Sort of? What do you mean, sort of?
So I bought a giant chicken.
Why did you get a giant chicken, Joe?
It was a good deal. I don't know.
How am I supposed to cook this thing?
There's a 200-pound chicken out there.
266 pounds.
The Hoboken Chicken Emergency was a 1984 made-for-TV Thanksgiving special, produced by PBS, I believe. And it's about a little boy who goes to get a turkey for Thanksgiving, and he ends up coming home with a giant live chicken, like a 7-foot tall chicken. It's just a guy in a chicken suit, and it's about him having a bond with this chicken and raising it as a pet, and the town has to come to accept it. So it's this cute little family thing, and it's based on a book from the 70s.
With a very misleading cover.
I wish that was the movie we got. I mean, it's one thing in book form, but to see that on screen would have been amazing.
In 1982, an enraged hen took over a movie theater in Swineford, New York, consumed 50 bushels of popcorn, slashed the seat cushions, and ran the movie Spartacus, starring Kirk Douglas, over 100 times before she was captured.
The reason I discovered this was because I have very vivid memories of seeing something with a kid and a giant chicken on TV when I was a little kid. And until recently, I had no proof that it actually existed. And so I thought I was just going crazy, and even Googling, you know, kid with a giant chicken TV special would come up with very many results. And one day I found it. I got so excited because it meant I wasn't going crazy.
Well, you were, but not for that reason.
Not to worry, everything's under control. Back, 73, back!
So Katy, what does this have to do with A Christmas Story, the beloved Christmas classic that everyone loves?
Well, I think that the entire reason that this movie exists is because of A Christmas Story. First of all, it has the same main actor, like a year after A Christmas Story came out. Peter Billingsley stars in this movie. It's also like a holiday movie, so they have another holiday movie starring Peter Billingsley. It's like a whimsical family special kind of thing. So it's basically trying to pander to the Christmas Story market.
But he goes even deeper than that.
If we go any deeper, we just raise the stakes. I am sitting this one out on this level, boys.
Not only is Peter Billingsley in another holiday special the year after A Christmas Story, but the guy who plays his dad looks and acts exactly like the guy who played his dad in A Christmas Story. Down to the fact that this guy needs to have his turkey.
At Thanksgiving, it's turkey, Arthur. When your grandparents were young and still in Poland, and they told them to eat turkey, they had to eat turkey. Now, here in America, we have a choice. And the choice is turkey.
Now it is well known throughout the Midwest that the old man is a turkey junkie. A bona fide golly turkicanis freak.
And they changed some things from the book, even. For instance, in the book, it's just, you know, this little book about this kid and this chicken. But the movie opens with this framing device, kind of, where there's voiceover narration talking about, oh, I remember those days when that thing happened.
It could have happened anywhere, but it didn't. It happened right here in my little neighborhood in Hoboken, New Jersey.
But it's from the perspective of his next door neighbor, whom I think is supposed to be that lady who we see a couple of times.
No, it sounded to me more like it was some little girl from his school class who'd grown up, which doesn't make any sense because, okay, so in A Christmas Story, right, you have older version of him remembering back to when he was a kid and this happened.
Ah, there it is. My house. At good old Cleveland Street. How could I ever forget it?
But in this movie, it's like his next door neighbor remembering back to when she was a kid and this happens. And literally, first of all, she's nowhere in the book, so it's not referencing the book, right? She comes nowhere in the movie. We never actually see what this person looks like at any point in the movie. So there's basically, this narrator has no connection to the actual plot.
It was around Thanksgiving time, and we were in the middle of a big emergency.
I bet you after Christmas Story came out, they probably thought, what other holiday things can we put out there? Ah, this is a kid's book. Let's put it on TV. Get the kid from A Christmas Story.
No, I want an official red undercover knife and 200 my rifle.
I was surprised at Peter Billingsley's performance, though, because...
But Mama, we can't take her back. The old man said that he was going to feed her to the Coast Guard or to some people on a picnic.
He's great in A Christmas Story, but he's not given, like, a very challenging, nuanced role. He's supposed to be playing the nostalgic, you know, starry-eyed kid who's, you know, has the wonder for Christmas. And he plays that character very well in A Christmas Story. Here...
Okay, well, if you don't want to learn, then you can stay up there all by yourself.
So I think it's partly because whoever did A Christmas Story, you were dealing with obviously a really, really good director. A really good editor, a crew who knew what they were doing. This one I really feel like they're like, we got Peter Billingsley, we'll just take this kid actor, turn him loose, not give him any direction, and see what happens.
If I can't have Henrietta, I don't want to think.
A really great comparison, right, is in A Christmas Story, the scene where he beats up the bully. Afterwards, he's like crying real tears and his cheeks are red and he's like really, really good. And in this one, when he returns Henrietta, there's a scene where he's supposed to be crying and it's really, really, really fake. So I don't know if the director just like beat him up afterwards or something.
Wow.
Oh. But...
It's the month before Thanksgiving, and there's a turkey shortage in Hoboken, New Jersey.
Due to the truckers refusing to pay our city transit tax, Hoboken may not get any more turkeys this year.
So Arthur's dad, who is a turkey enthusiast, sends Arthur to the butcher shop to buy a turkey way in advance of Thanksgiving, so that they make sure that they have one for Thanksgiving. So he goes to the butcher shop to get the turkey, and the butcher shop is closed due to a death in the family, I think is what it said on the sign. But then Arthur looks up above, in like the flat or whatever, above, is that what they call it? A flat?
Maybe in England.
The apartment.
Are you the butcher?
Butcher? Me? Dr. Frankenstein was a butcher. I am a scientist.
And Arthur's like, I want a turkey. And his guy's like, I got a giant chicken, you want that? And Arthur's like, okay. So he comes home, he spends the $20 his dad gave him for a turkey on a 266-pound living chicken and brings it home. And his family just kind of deals with it.
Here you go, Henrietta.
No feeding pets from the table?
This is one of my favorite sequences in the movie. is when he's teaching it how to go down the slide. It's just this kid pushing this guy in like a giant chicken suit, like up these stairs and trying to teach this giant chicken how to go down the slide. And it's kind of wonderful, yet weird at the same time. Anyway, Arthur's dad makes him return the giant chicken because it's causing all sorts of problems and people are terrified of it. And the guy takes it back and you get to see he's just like some crazy scientist that makes genetically altered animals.
And how they do that is they take a bunch of like animals that they can get and they put all kinds of sound effects in the background of his apartment. So you see like a couple little pet shop critters.
Like you put like a styrofoam fish in a tank.
And there's like a couple styrofoam animals and then you just hear all these sound effects. So there's a lot more implied animals than you actually see.
You want a red, white, and blue lizard?
And then Henrietta runs away and the whole town goes into a panic. The scientist runs away from town because he's afraid that they're gonna burn his house down if they find out he's responsible.
Do you know what happens to people when one of my experiments gets loose? They go crazy. Once they burnt my house down. A perfectly good old castle, and they burnt it right down to the ground.
So this is not the first time that he's offended like this, apparently.
I love the scientist guy, by the way.
He's like a great character.
He's the best actor and character in the whole movie.
That is not true. He's the second best next to Henrietta, who is both the best actor and the best character in the entire movie.
Bye.
So both the book and the movie do a weird thing here, where they kind of shift focus away from Arthur and the mayor of the town becomes the main character of sorts, who's worried because he's up for re-election and he's not doing a damn thing about this giant chicken terrorizing people problem.
If you don't move on this thing fast, the chicken is going to have a better chance of getting elected than you will.
So he hires a famed giant chicken catcher.
Which raises questions about how many chickens... Well, he doesn't specify the other chickens are giant either.
No.
As you may recall, in 1977, the town of Gatorade, Florida, was terrorized by a renegade rooster known as Everglade Ike.
We just know that chickens apparently in this universe terrorize towns occasionally, necessitating the need for chicken catchers.
My price is $60,000.
$60,000?
And they're like, okay, is $60,000 to catch giant chicken that we just don't want to, you know, shoot
Which
ourselves?
in those days, whether it was the 80s or the 70s or the 30s, was a lot of money.
It is. It's a lot of money now for catching a giant chicken, in my opinion.
This is true.
And he makes a robot chicken and puts it in a cage and says, Henrietta will want to come find this chicken because it's so handsome. That's his plan.
And in the book, they specify that it actually, the giant chicken looks just like him, too. Like, it has the same mustache and everything.
Now watch this. All right, that's enough.
Then the scientist comes back in one of the most politically correct scenes in the entire movie.
Oh my gosh.
You have hired less than the best, Your Worship. I am acquainted with Mr. De Palma. He was my pupil some years ago. A young man not without talent, but slapdash and huckle-muckle in his workmanship.
He comes back as an Oriental chicken expert.
Mr. Mayor, there's an Oriental chicken expert here to see you.
It was the 80s. I don't know. I can't excuse that. It was the 80s.
There's no excuse, Joe.
There's no excuse for that.
There's no excuse.
I am Dr. Su Ting Hang.
But he convinces the mayor that the best way to catch Henrietta is by running a pro-chicken campaign.
That's bait.
Because Henrietta is wrecking shit up in this town.
Well, that's because, so the whole reason that she's wrecking shit up in this town is because She had Arthur and she loved him, but then when she escaped from the scientist to try to find him, people were like throwing things at her and screaming because they were scared, and so then she turned all evil and started like harassing people and stuff.
Until human beings devised weapons for themselves, this was the most powerful killer on Earth. The top predator. The ultimate in lethal grace and beauty.
And then you have the greatest scene in the movie, is when Henrietta returns. And Arthur goes back to the playground. He's walking around searching for Henrietta. Henrietta, where'd you go? And he ends up just sitting down in the playground, all sad. And then you hear... And everyone's so happy, and it's amazing.
That is amazing. It is amazing.
Oscar-worthy scene.
I cried every time.
If they gave scenes to Oscars, that's what I meant to say.
What are you doing?
Well, that's an awful lot of money. It didn't cost me that much to get elected.
So the town ends up being nice to Henrietta, and everyone comes together, and Henrietta comes home to her family, and Arthur gets a chicken license to keep chickens in Hoboken, and that's the end of the movie. They all have Thanksgiving dinner, and Henrietta sits down at the table, and I presume she eats a turkey. So, is that technically cannibalism?
Chickens will eat one another. Fun fact. You can throw cooked chicken to a chicken, and it will eat the chicken.
So, our cute, lovable chicken character is a cannibal.
Oh, it was terrible. Just terrible.
Are you all right, Mrs. Gluckstern?
It was staring right through the Venetian blinds. A monster.
We have to talk about the giant chicken suit.
Yes.
This suit is just so wonderful to look at. The guy operating the suit is just kind of bobbing around. You know, it's like, it doesn't look like garbage. Wow. Which you would think that, you know...
Put that on the box.
The suit doesn't look like garbage. Like, when you say giant chicken PBS movie, I'm thinking something like the robot that we see later on in the movie, made of styrofoam cups.
Yeah.
But no, this is like a legit puppet.
I think the entirety of their budget went into the giant chicken suit. Leaving them with like 50 cents for the rest of the movie.
It just, you know, it runs upstairs and down the street. It's just the happiest little thing.
I just feel bad for like the guy in it going down the slide and stuff in that thing. Like, so much hazard.
I like how whenever, for instance, when it's climbing up the slide, you can see the way Henrietta is holding on to the rungs is the side of her wing kind of grip on. So you can tell like the actor's hands were inside it, kind of gripping onto it as it's climbing up these things. The director, I just picture the director saying, "Just go up the slide, you'll be fine." And the actor's like, "I don't know about this.
We don't have money for a stunt double.
Just push the guy in the giant chicken suit down the slide."
Oh, sorry, I forgot to tell you to land on your feet.
So, Katie, what did you think of the Hoboken chicken emergency?
Oh, I loved it. It was a documentary about my childhood.
Do you want to come to the butcher with me? Can't you see we're busy?
I grew up in New Jersey. I had a pet chicken. I had several pet chickens. This was a story about me. It just spoke to my heart. And if it wasn't, like, racist at one point...
When they don't feel wanted, they become unpleasant, antisocial.
Thanks for leading me into it, because I love this movie. and now I look like a No, this is a fun little movie. I feel like Thanksgiving kind of gets the short end of the stick between Halloween and Christmas, both in terms of holidays in general and in holiday specials. Like when you think Thanksgiving holiday specials, most people think of just kind of like the schlocky horror movies that are out there, like Thanksgiving. But there are, you can find little gems like this if you really look. These little family-friendly 80s heartwarming chicken things.
Getting this. Hi, Henrietta. Hi.
Hi, chicken.
It's okay.
It works on a genuinely kind of fun, goofy, charming level, but it also works if you just want to see some weird batshit thing that exists and you want to laugh at it. Yeah, it's good for a little watch.
It's fun. I liked it. It made me nostalgic.
I'm all talking about Thanksgiving slasher flicks, and everyone's like screaming in the comments, what about planes, trains, and automobiles?
Except, you know what the other Thanksgiving movie is, which everybody seems to really like, and I despise, is Pieces of April.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I can't relate.
I want to murder that movie.
Next year, Cinemadrome, Pieces of April.
No, because you will not get me to watch that movie again.
Because that's what we need is more people yelling at us.
No. Because there are a few movies that I am in pain watching. Pieces of April was one of them, Joe.
Just gonna cut it off now.
Stop.
Before we get in trouble.